Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Belltown Council for Thursday, February 19th, 2026. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have roll call, please.
Gary Shuck.
Present.
Lindsay Washmuth. Here. Christy Workman. Here. Roger Faust. Here. Chad Blake. Here.
Next, we have a message from our attorney, Mr. Kane.
Make sure we're on. All right, hello, everyone. Good evening. Just before we begin tonight's meeting, I just wanted to briefly review how town council meetings typically go, how they operate under Indiana law. Pursuant to the open door law, town council meetings are, of course, we're all here, required to be open to the public. This allows citizens, the local community, to observe the business of our local government live and in person. This benefits everyone. Now, the purpose of a town council meeting is for the council here to conduct official business, deliberate, and take actions on the matters that are properly before it. Indiana law does not require that the public be permitted to speak during the meeting itself. But that being said, this town council values public input and community engagement. And although not required to do so, the council has chosen to include a public comment period at the end of our meeting today. There's a sign-up sheet that you guys would have walked past at the front of the room up there that speakers may sign up so that the chair, whoever we vote to be president today, can call on them in order. And during that specific designated time, members of the public will have the opportunity to address the council and speak for up to 3 minutes each pursuant to the policy. We respectfully ask that speakers remain courteous, of course, and direct their comments to the council here as a whole. It's also the policy of this meeting that you wait to be acknowledged by the president before speaking, and then once you're acknowledged there, your comments can be made from the podium that we have up here. That way you can be recorded. The public comment period is an opportunity to be heard, but it's not a period for debate or for a back and forth dialogue to happen. Likewise, there's also going to be time on the agenda set aside for council members to speak, make their comments and concerns. And of course, the chair can recognize that they can make comments at alternate times as well. And as always, we appreciate everyone's attendance this evening and your commitment to this community and understanding the government and holding them accountable. And with that, I think we're ready to proceed with the rest of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Battery must be going on. Thank you, Mr. Kane. First of all, we need to amend the agenda. We have some things that we put on here. First is under presentations, the financing overview from Crone and Associates needs to be removed. And under new business, item J and item K need to be removed. I would entertain a motion for that.
I would make that motion.
Second. Gary.
Yes.
Lindsay. Yes. Christy.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, I would like to welcome our newest member, Christy Worthman, who was appointed, there you go, appointed recently to take the place of Mr. Robertson.
Your light went off.
My light's been out for a long time. You know that. Sorry.
This one has first.
Here it is. Get that water. So now that we have a full council here tonight, we need to elect the president and the vice president. It says election of secretary, but as we know, the clerk is our secretary for this council. So, are there any nominations for president?
I would nominate Chad Blake for president.
Good. Is there a second, or anybody else want to be on?
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, with no other nominations, Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
It's up to you now.
It's in my hands?
It's in your hands.
All right, look at that. Smooth transition of power. At this time, we would entertain motion to nominate any member of the council as a vice president. Does anyone have a nomination to make?
I make a motion to nominate Lindsay Washman.
I second that.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, with no other nominations, Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yeah.
Chad.
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is the appointment of liaisons. Each council member has the opportunity to be a liaison to a town department, to assist them with their department as an advisor. We do not have supervisory function or power over those departments or those people, unless there is something specific within state law. Currently, we have an opening for a liaison for the planning. And then all others, if anyone is interested in changing or not changing, we can do that. So, is anyone in favor of maintaining our current liaisons?
Well, I would make the
Existing?
motion that we have Christie, who took Brian's place to go to the planning commission, and everybody else stay the way they are, who they are assigned to.
Is that a motion made or a
Yes.
suggestion? I would second that motion.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right. On to presentations. We have water and sewer project updates. Mr. Cutshaw.
Good evening, Dan Cutshaw with CDS Engineers. I passed out a map before the meeting. I think some of you have also received that through an email. Those are the suggested water replacement projects. The dark red and the dark yellow are the replacements. The dark red is 8-inch water main, and the dark yellow is 6-inch water main. We will be replacing about 11,000 feet. close to it. As part of that, we have, we're gonna replace about 20% of the water mains currently in the system. That will be a good start. As we've talked before, we've done about everything we can to clean the water, clean the wells, we clean the tanks. We flushed the lines. What's hurting the system right now is the 60 to 80-year-old water mains that have a lot of scale in them. A lot of them are cast iron, which is what they used back in that time, 60 to 70 years ago. So our proposal is to go ahead and get those replaced. Does anybody have any questions on that? I will say that that is a very preliminary map at this point. That was done basically with your system map, some of your GIS, and we've not surveyed anything, so that is subject to change. But we want to do about 11,000 feet of replacement. Let me give you a little update on the sewer. We plan to do a quadrant of the city, about a fourth of the city with lining. It's about a $3 million project. What I mean by lining is we're not going to dig or excavate any streets. They go in trenchless into the manholes and invert a liner into the pipe to stop all the I&I infiltration and inflow. And it will be, and Roger asked me this earlier, it's about a 50 to 75-year life once those are lined. And we're going to try to do about a quarter of the system. We currently are asking for a $750,000 Oprah grant for that. And Mike Kleinpeter, who is the grant writer for Lapel, is working on that now. So I think that goes in, mid-April, and then they award it in May or June. So,
How much capacity do we think we'll recover with this?
you know, that's a very difficult question, and it really doesn't have an answer. We can make guesses all day long. We did flow testing of the system, and you have, when it rains like it is today, you've got 7 times more at the sewer plant. I could probably guess if we're doing a quarter of the system, we're going to reduce that to maybe 5 or 6 times. There's still a lot of work to be done.
So from the original proposal that I believe was in the $40-ish million for the sewer plant upgrade and line upgrades, this lining of the pipes, how much does that save us from actual pipe replacement that would have been included in that original? Or was that original project just the sewer plant?
No, it also included the lining of the sewers, so it saved you $3 million.
So that comes out of that project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing anything different than what we had planned previously. So,
And we use the flow testing to determine what part of the sewer or what part of the town we're gonna use, or we're gonna line.
partially, yes, partially. The other factor is when you apply to Oprah, you try to target an income survey, which is low to moderate income per Oprah standards. And so when you're getting one of those grants, you want to target those areas, which is fine because the leaks are all over the city. It doesn't matter where we're at. I think we split it up into 5 or 6 basins, and every one of them, but actually every one of them leaked pretty poorly. There was one that wasn't as bad, but it was still bad.
Going back to the water, now the water project in this pipeline information that you put in front of us today, that is just a proposal for what would be, as it says here, phase 1.
Well, it's actually phase 2 because it's already you've already, replaced about 9,000 feet back.
Okay, so this would be
Should be phase 2.
phase 2 of that project.
So I can give you a rundown on the footages.
Real quick before you do that, and you may answer this question with those footages. How many feet of water main do we have?
76,000.
So we've replaced about 9.
Yep.
And there's 11,000 in this proposal.
Correct. And there's about 12,000 that are fairly new PVC pipe that we would not replace. So that means before we do phase 2, you've got about 55,000 feet left to replace. And if we do 11,000 feet, that's about 20% or so. And so you'll have about 44,000 feet left after phase 2. There's still some work to do, but
And the inventory shown here is the worst of the worst,
yes,
effectively.
yes.
And also the smallest. That's replacing some 1-inch and 2-inch mains that,
Didn't get
to
replaced.
get it increased size so we get better flow.
Yeah, one of the things we're trying to do for the water main replacements is do a 8-inch loop all the way around town and 3 8-inch ladder rungs. So we'll do a loop all the way around town, then there'll be 3 8-inch ladder rungs, and the rest is gonna be replaced with 6-inch.
Will that eliminate any main that we won't have to replace by reconfiguring it that way?
Say that again?
Will that reduce the amount of water main? Will that eliminate any of it that we won't eventually have?
No,
to
you still gotta replace 55,000 feet as we stand today.
What can users expect during the project? How long will it take, and what are gonna be the gains, the immediate gains after the project's complete?
Well, the immediate gains are the areas that we're replacing should have cleaner water. It's not gonna fix everything. You know, we're doing 20% of the system. It's not gonna fix everything. What can you expect? It's excavation. There'll be some minor disruptions in water service. Not more than 2 to 4 hours, but you guys just experienced this 2 or 3 years ago, so it'll be similar, but we will have guys on here, and I know the former engineer did too, but I won't get into that, but we're gonna really take control of the contractor, make sure everything's done correctly, and we're only gonna run this for 8 months. We're not gonna run it for 3 years. 8 months.
So again, this is just a proposal. We would have to commission a rate study, look at bonds and things like that before we could ever move forward, because as has been explained pretty well in the past, any upgrade to a municipal owned utility is directly funded by the users of the utility. So the 870 water utility customers of the town would be splitting the bill on this $6 million proposed, and that's just the engineer's estimated cost. That's not once it goes out for bid and somebody comes back and says, well, it's gonna be 8 million. Or they could come back and say it's gonna be 5, but I got it.
You never know. Yeah, so any other questions on that? I can get the item, don't have numbers, but the agreement, there's only one. There's about a 10-page agreement in there for us, CDS engineers, to do a preliminary engineering report. That is due on March 31st, and that is to get money for this project through SRF. The other part of the PER is lead service line replacements. From what I can tell on the inventory that I have found, you still have a significant number of lead service lines that need replaced. SRF will have a large sum of money, about $120 million available in July. And there is a significant chance that you will get grant money to replace the rest of the lead lines and potentially do parts of these water mains.
So real quick on that, the last project that we did, the engineer told us this will take care of almost all of your lead lines. So based on your information, how many feet of lead or galvanized that is qualifying as lead, how many feet of pipe do we have in the ground currently out of that 11,000?
Just service line, 11,000?
The mains.
The mains are generally cast iron, okay? Cast iron is not lead. However, the joints generally have lead in them. And so that makes them lead. It also, what it does on galvanized services, which you have a lot of galvanized services, galvanized is not lead, but if you have lead upstream, it attaches to the galvanized and becomes lead. So all of the galvanized service lines need to be replaced, and from what we can tell, there are about 400 between the meter to the main and the meter to the house, about 400 service lines either direction that need to be replaced. That's the best available information that I have. A lot of that has not been verified.
I say that'd be almost half of our total customers.
No, when I say 400, so you got 800, there's 1,600 potential. So there's one from the house to the meter and the meter to the water main.
So each one counts as two.
Yes.
Okay.
So no, it's not half.
So a quarter.
A quarter. But I'll say again, that has to be verified.
And that's legally mandated to be completed by some point, right? What's that date?
35,
It's way out there. It's like
35,
35, 2037.
37.
I would like, what we're gonna do in the PER is we're going to ask SRF to pay for 100% of the project on the lead service line replacements, and we're gonna do 100% of all of them in the project. That's what we're gonna ask. Whether we get it or not, I think we might, based on my conversations with SRF.
No disagreement for me that this needs to be done. Just getting that out there first. No disagreement for me that our sewer project has to move forward, whether it be lining lines. We still have to be moving forward on our sewer plant because the sewer plant is stopping any future growth, construction, anything like that from happening in the town. We will get a portion of that back with the lining of the pipes, but the sewer plant is still a thing that has to happen. My concern is with our current debt levels on the water project, the sewer bond that already exists. Have we reached out to Reedy, or do we know what our debt ceiling is for these projects?
We've had conversations with Crone. The PER is at this point is a small portion of any of the projects. I would not, at this point, until you hear back from SRF on the PER results, I would not engage doing the $6 million project. There has to be, as Chad, as you mentioned, there has to be rate studies and things like that. We're not there yet. The only thing I'm asking at this point is to get started on the PER so we can get it in and get grant money. That's it. I think the other decisions can be made later once you get a full picture of the financial status of the utility.
As a part of the PER, will you verify the number of lines that need to be replaced?
Yes.
Or will you have us do that?
Well, we're not gonna have time to do it before March 31st. All those have to be dug up, and Brandon not gonna have time to look at 400 of them. We're gonna make some assumptions, and we're gonna make some high assumptions of what we don't. We're gonna basically say the ones that are unknown are lead. And when we dig them up and find out they're not, then we don't have to replace them.
And you're gonna
But-
get cost?
We're gonna go, on a high end on that.
Overestimating that.
We're gonna overestimate.
If we don't get this by the March deadline, when's the next opportunity?
March of 2027.
They've cut down on what I want to say, their bidding process to once a year.
Well, here's the key. In my discussions with SRF, they are getting a lot of money from the federal government in July at the beginning of the fiscal year. They tell me every year there's no guarantee that you're gonna get that in 27, 28, 29. They have no idea, and they will not tell you either way.
Getting this information today, well, the last 2 days, the biggest opportunity that I have with it is the lump sum contract amount. Because that amount alone is enough to cause us to have a rate study. $514,000 is a lot of money.
That's not the one we're considering.
Which one are we
That-
considering?
We're considering the small one. I agree with you on that. The small one's only 48.8, I think.
Okay, sorry,
That's the
that's
one,
the one that I have in my email.
And it's covered the short one.
It's 10 pages long. Versus the other one's a lot longer.
It has a completely different name.
It's 48.
48% change, yeah.
Is this 48, where is it? $48,800. That is part of the other greater amount? Or is this in addition to the 514?
In addition, the 514 is not even on the table at this point.
I understand, but if this
But
were
it would
each
be
taken out of that,
In
it
addition,
started.
it would be in addition. Once, if you get grant money and you get a rate study, that comes later, but that would be in addition.
Ms. Clerk Treasurer, do we have the funds?
Yes, we do, and honestly, if they'll give us the grant money to do the lead service lines, I personally, I think it's a good idea.
Well, I feel better knowing it's not 514,000 today. All right. Would entertain a motion at this time to approve the short form agreement for
I will make the
$48,800.
I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary engineering report study with CDS engineers for the amount of 48.8.
Second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
For the overall cost alone, no.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Anything else, Mr. Cutshaw?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, that is the end of presentation. New business, we have some of our beginning of the year resolutions to take care of. So first we have, resolution 2026-01, and this pertains to some funding transfers. Teresa, do you want to speak on these?
Sure, thank you. As you all know, we're in the middle of selling the gas company. Right now, we have funds in 5 different gas funds. So at this time, we're actually, Brandon and I are gonna start meeting next week with citizens to starting the process of moving through the sale. So I figured the best thing to do right now is just to combine them all into cash operating. There's no sense in us saving for gas meter replacement when we're not gonna own it probably this summer. So it's, I don't know if you guys want me to go through the amounts. The transfer, from gas customer meter deposits to cash operating, $34,637.49. The gas cash reserve to cash operating, $455. Gas meter replacement to gas cash operating, $24,816.65. The gas savings account to gas cash operating, $34,873.04. And the gas meter replacement savings account to cash operating, $10,493.93, for a total of $105,276.11.
I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-1, for the fund amounts, listed.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, and then resolution 2026-02, is the resolution that will stop the automatic transfer, from gas operating into those funds so that we don't have to do this again.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-02.
Second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, resolution 2026-03, is a resolution to cancel stale checks. I believe that is something that came up in our audit.
Yes, something I didn't know, you have to, stale checks after 2 years, you have to basically put them back in the fund that they were written out of. So, this resolution has a list of, sorry, grabbed the wrong piece of paper. Several on there, some of them are even, utility refunds. I can run through a $50, $118, $5.65, $1.95, $104.26, 5602, $79.95, $113.50, $19.25, $10,923.16, $2,416.05, $64.44, $850, $40, and $1,650. Once these are done, then every year, at the end of the year, after 2 years, because they have to stay in there for 2 years, they just hadn't been done for a while. So, once these are put back in, that was everything that was in the audit will be fixed.
So Teresa,
Mhm.
once those are put back in, are we gonna make the required notices under the unclaimed property laws?
Yes, that will be next. After we put those in, then we do that. Yep.
And just for the clarification, some of these existed prior to our previous audit that were not flagged in that audit, but did get flagged this time, so
Correct. Actually,
most of
Yeah.
them. I'd make a motion to approve, resolution 2026-03.
Second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right. And the next one is resolution 2026-04. That must be a different one. So our police department obviously issues tickets and infractions from time to time. And to do that, we have to have an agreement with a court, as we do not have a court here in the town of Lapel. So what we have here, resolution 2026-04, is an interlocal agreement with the city of Elwood for the hearing and disposal of town ordinance violations. In other words, they will be our court for anything that requires court. If you're not aware of interlocal agreements and how those work, before one municipality can do something for another, or transfer an item or transfer funds, you have to have an agreement. If there is no agreement, a transfer of funds would be illegal. So this authorizes us to pay for the court and the court to pay us, and for them to do our business on our behalf.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
So just, and I think many people are probably confused about this. So initially, we did an ordinance bureau, which would allow the clerks in the town hall to be able to collect fines up to a certain amount, okay?
Correct.
And so this will allow us to collect fines over that amount?
This is for if it is not collected and we send it to court.
Okay. So the amount really doesn't matter?
Nope.
Like after a certain amount, they don't have to go to Elwood to pay?
No, this is this is for any violation that requires going to court.
Okay.
This is so that they can act as our court.
So in this agreement, it indicates that we have to have an attorney that we pay to prosecute these fines.
Mhm.
Are we going to look at the fines and the ordinances to make sure they're sufficient to cover that additional cost?
That is part of the
Recodification?
recodification of the ordinances, yep. That is already in progress. Any other questions? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-04.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, and our last resolution for today. The resolution 2026-05, this is a transfer of funds. This is required, we fund our Parks Department through the Cascadon Fund, which is a donation for the town, from the Cascadon family. And we are required by the DLGF and Indiana Code to account for the transfer of funds. And this resolution takes care of that for us for this budget year.
Question.
Yes,
Just to clarify, this money only covers operating expenses, right? Like mowing and weeding and basic maintenance. This isn't for improvements.
this is for any necessary expense that the Park Department has in the course of the year.
No. So that would be, my question would be a question for parks, not a question regarding this. Is that what you're saying? So let me ask the parks person when they come up.
Most likely, yes.
Because I just want to make the point that I don't think this money funds any improvements. It really barely covers maintenance, if I understand right. And I just want to make sure that's on record. Okay.
May I speak, Mr. President?
You may.
Okay. Actually, this year we put in $20,000 more from the Riverboat Casino money to cover their maintenance costs so that we could use the Cascadon money for
Improvements.
improvements.
Excellent. That's what I was wanting to know. Like, did they get enough money? Basically?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they didn't get enough, but
They got a good
yeah,
start.
they got a good start.
Start
They have
normal.
some plans in the works,
Well,
so,
decent start.
yeah.
But this is just for the required transfer,
Gotcha.
document, the paperwork. Went from here to there,
To that fund.
Right.
so that they can spend it. All right, we have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve 2026-05.
Second. Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right. Next on new business, Comcast right-of-way permit requests.
Good evening. My name is Brian Rockensus. I'm the new Executive Director for Local Government Affairs for Indiana, Kentucky Comcast. So I lead a team of folks across the state that help communities like yours make sure that they have a contact into Comcast for if we're doing business with the community. So first, I'm 7 weeks in. I want to thank Jen Reske. She was my first call and really helped move the project to get to this point today. So with me here, I have Nikki Atherton. She actually represents the Madison County area. And I also have Kyle McKenzie from our construction team, which he's able to go over the plans if you have questions on those. But before I hand it off to them, I want to thank you for allowing us to get to this point and being able to extend service to Lapel allows your constituents an option. And it's an option of service that we firmly believe is phenomenal fiber broadband service. We have, as I was listening to the wastewater conversation, we do have low-cost options for residents where they need it, where they can receive broadband for $20 a month. We also recently just locked in a 5-year fixed rate at $50 a month if you don't fit the low income threshold. So we are working with communities and customers to make sure that they can get broadband at whatever price they need it. And then if there is outages, we have teams in the area that will be here to restore service within 4 hours of time. So that's really high level. The more detailed information, I'm going to pass it to Kyle. He'll be able to explain more of the plan, and any questions you may have, we can direct both of us. Thank you.
My name's Kyle McKenzie, Construction Manager with Comcast. Out of respect for everybody's time, I know there's probably gonna be questions, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. We did get awarded a grant through Indiana's NLC3 program. Madison County was a large part of that grant, including Lapel. So that's one of the reasons we decided to build here. We are doing a large chunk of Lapel on our own cost, with Comcast contributing $1.5 million for this build. And that covers the 17 miles of fiber we're building here, covering 1,100 homes in the greater Lapel area. So with that said, I'll open it up to any questions you might have for Brian or I.
My first question would be for Brandon, who's behind you there. I know with the gluttony of different companies all racing to run fiber through town right now. Have you been over their plan? Are there any concerns? I know in this scope is they will be paying banning to supervise, so that it doesn't put a burden on you all. Are there any concerns or anything from the utility side on anything that they have going on with this right away?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the time chunk that it takes from us between locates and how many crews they have working at one time. And hiring banning doesn't really help us too much. I mean, they can shut a job down or make sure things are going right, but ultimately one of my guys has to be out there to watch them at all times due to Indiana law. That's just the way gas works. If you're not certified, you can't even read a gas meter. So, my biggest thing is we know how things go in this town when we bore. I mean, things are gonna get hit. That's just, it's inevitable. So do we want to take internet, having quality internet versus having water down for 2 days because we break a main and the power's dry? I mean, you gotta think of the options. I know in some of the plans, there was a bunch of pedestals, above ground pedestals, a bunch of marker posts. I don't like that. I mean, it looks gaudy. You go to any new addition and it's all pedestals everywhere. Some of the easement concerns, front yard easements, like with pedestals being people's front yards, I wouldn't want that in my house. There's just gonna be a lot to it. I mean, we've had people bore small sections in this town and things get hit every time. If we're gonna go across the entire town, it's a lot. Things will get hit. Things will be broke. We're gonna have water leaks, and I'm the one that's out there fixing them. So that's my biggest concern. We know how old the infrastructure is. Even if you have a water line that's 3 foot, you say, well, we're gonna bore it 2 foot. Well, when you bore it, the earth moves, right? I mean, it don't take much for our deteriorated lines that are already there break once you move the dirt a little bit. So those are my biggest concerns. Which the same concerns I have with anybody that's coming through and boring here, not just Comcast.
If we're having to supply a person out there with it per law, as he's saying, how long, what's the projected time frame for this?
It depends on how many people you can have available for that. We'll probably be running 3 to 4 crews. So
That's 4 of my 6 guys.
yeah. So I would say, how many guys do you think you could free per day?
Maybe 1.
Maybe 1.
I mean, we got others, I have a town to run. I got other things to do other than, I mean, right now we've got an internet company coming in, going down 300 between the amount of locates and then having to do watch and protects. That's 4 of them right there that I'm missing all day. Right now, it's not too bad because it's still cold. The winter, well, we were warm yesterday, but we're still the slow part of the season. Once we get up into spring and summer, we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on.
I would say we're looking at probably July or August completion, just depending on how fast locates can keep up.
Starting when, if this is approved?
We're ready to start right now. I know this is probably the 3rd time I've been in front of the town hall here, so.
The biggest thing to think of is if they have 4 crews running, that's 4 guys that I have doing watch and protect. And then you've got those same crews that are doing this area of town, calling in locates for this area of town, which takes another 4 or 5 guys to do, depending on the size of the locate.
That's
So now
more
we've
than
got
6.
more stuff going on than I got employees.
How much does this cost in the
Go ahead.
I got a list.
Pull your mic
So-
up to you closer.
Yeah, turn the mic on.
Okay.
There you go.
No, pull it towards you. There you go. Come a little closer to the mic.
All right, so this initial application was filed before our right-of-way permit fees went in place, right?
I don't recall. Jenny is saying yes.
Okay. The initial application allows for a single $5,000 bond. The new right-of-way permit ordinance requires a $10,000 bond for every open cut, which looks like it's gonna be possibly every street crossing, right? Have you pulled any of those bonds?
Not yet,
Those
no.
bonds? Okay. In addition to that, I think there's some other bonds that would be required for, not if, but when you break things, right? Okay.
Yeah, and the bonds would be an issue, we could have those.
So in addition to locates, then you have to go back and do inspections to make sure they've restored everything, so you're gonna need additional guys for that, I would assume, as
Yeah.
fast as they're gonna be moving with 3 or 4 crews. The banding engineering, 1 guy for 40 hours over 8 weeks would eat up your linear feet that you're gonna pay with the new right-of-way fee. Are you paying that or are we paying that?
From what the conversations I've had with Jen, we'd be paying the banning cost.
Okay. So we would keep our right-of-way fees, that those would be spent then on the banning contract?
Correct.
So would they be signing the banning contract?
No.
Why would we be signing the banning contract and assuming the liability for the fees if they're gonna pay them?
It's the equivalent of with our consultant for planning. They will do work that comes back in the form of a fee on a permit or on a BZA request or,
It's
I'm
a-
sorry, I'm being corrected.
To be honest, I'm kind of along the same lines, only because that money is supposed to be paid by Comcast to Banning Engineering. Instead, it's us signing the contract and then Banning bills us, then I gotta bill Comcast in order Comcast to pay me to pay Banning.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is
That is the
something.
way I'm
No.
understanding it. Am I wrong?
Well, my bigger concern is the fact that we're gonna spend $80,000 to $100,000 in payroll for our utility department to babysit you guys.
Not even payroll, you've got the amount of flags and paint and fuel.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Oil
whole
changes.
laundry list
I mean,
of
it's,
issues that
everything
are not
operates.
covered in this.
And really honestly, Comcast is, while we'll see the benefit of having an option that many residents may not even necessarily care to take advantage of, Comcast will recover some of their expense, their subscriber fees over time, right?
That's the plan, yeah.
So I agree, this shouldn't cost the town anything. In my opinion, it shouldn't cost them anything. Correct. And that's before we even start talking about 399 pedestals and God only knows how many markers. Because when I looked at that, for one, I can tell you that it didn't even make sense to me. And granted, I'm not a specialist in this, but I live on a street that faces my property, stops at the county road. So across the road from me is county, not even Lapel, okay? You've got pedestals going in my backyard, pedestals going in my front yard, pedestals 50 feet apart. And I'm gonna be real honest with you as a homeowner, we have all driven around and seen what those pedestals look like. Not one is plumb, not one is square, they're all cockamamie, you can't hardly mow around the things. They're in your way and they're ugly. And, you know, I look at some sections of town and you're able to entirely put them through the rear, utility easements. In other sections of town, you've got some homeowners, especially those on corners, who may have 2 or 3 of these things in their yard. So I agree. Is there other technology that you can use so that we're not having to look at these things in the front of houses?
No, we are able to install some underground pedestals, but with the technology in our taps, they're not able to be submerged in water. And if we do put them below grade, you get a storm like this, you get snow melt, those faults will fill up eventually. And while the equipment is water resistant, over time it will degrade and they will fill up with water, causing service issues. So
Is there anything you can do to reduce the number of pedestals that you're gonna have on
absolutely,
street
yes.
frontage?
So we did actually redesign this to utilize the smaller taps. So the pedestals go from about this high down to about this high. Just to show you. And that also reduces the number of pedestals. So I don't have an exact number for you. We can go through the maps here, we can comb through everything. This is the design here, so.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I was looking at it and I'm thinking, and, you know, here's another concern that I have. When you guys came the last time, you started talking about punching holes in the park in a couple places and that, cause I live right next to the park. So I asked, what are you doing on Vine Street? Oh, just a couple punches in the park. And I thought, okay, cause they're going to the easement that runs behind the houses there. Well, no, now you've got 2 or 3 pedestals right there on Vine Street. And I'm like, as a homeowner, I've received 0 notification. If it weren't for the fact that I am so nosy about what's going on in town business, I wouldn't even know this was happening. And I can tell you that there are a lot of homeowners who will be very upset to come home and see that you have bored through their front yard and put a pedestal in their front yard, and they had no idea this was coming, so
Yeah,
what?
before construction starts, we door tag every home. We just haven't done that yet because it hasn't started.
The one thing that's not on our right-of-way permit here is the fee total. We obviously have the banning cost, in the proposal from them. Sorry. We obviously have the banning cost in the proposal from them. What's the permit fee total for this project? If it's in the proposal or the request, I have completely missed it.
Thank you for the question. We have not yet calculated the fee because part of Banning's work with us is to help us review the project, make sure we have a clear view of what the plans are, make any suggestions, if it's approved, to avoid sensitive areas to the extent we can. They might have other revisions they request as well. So the decision was made to defer to your judgment on whether to approve it to move forward. It would then be subject to additional conditions and rules as imposed by staff after consulting with Banning. Then we would formulate the accurate fee, which we would bill to Comcast and they would pay before work begins. And I also want to point out, Banning provided an estimate that is only an estimate. It's possible that could be more or less.
It could be a lot more if this goes 5 months.
This is a new project for us. It's very large, and that's why we brought Banning in to provide some support for us. Brandon will be our lead on the side. It will be up to him to determine where we can fit Banning in to do certain tasks, to take pressure off staff, and where we just can't pursuant to state law. We don't know yet what that looks like. I think we've been transparent with Banning or with Comcast that it is only an estimate. And we've also been transparent with them about our limitations as well.
I don't like the idea of being asked to approve something to go forward when I don't understand what the cost is. And if they're the ones paying for Banning, why wouldn't we have them contract with Banning and have them pay for the study and then come to us with an appropriate application that gives us all the information?
I think that the way this process works is there's some back and forth because Comcast is motivated to make changes that are reasonable in order to get certain areas approved. For example, the right-of-way we're working on this week, we looked at it and said, whoa, we don't want you to go on the side of the street. There are too many things there. Would you be amenable to going on the other side of the street? And so the company said yes, and we were able to proceed with the lower risk to the town.
Right.
I think we definitely want flexibility, if it's approved, to make sure we have all the tools available to protect the town's assets and to make sure that we can limit opportunities or risks for service interruptions and issues like that. As far as why that contract with Banning is structured that way, they've done this work for other municipalities. That is their preference because they want a clear line showing that they work for us. If it's the council's desire for us to go back to Banning and suggest an alternate way so that the relationship is between them and Comcast, I'd be happy to work on that.
Also, on that piece, since this is a grant project, even though we're putting a lot of money into it, it's going through a grant process with the state. We can't contract, I don't believe, with an engineering firm on your behalf. So we have to do it through you, through regular contracting.
Makes sense.
Because it's the grant that's coming to the community, it's
To
a path through to the community.
So this initial study, just so I'm clear, this initial study we're gonna pay for, and then we make a decision whether or not we're gonna go forward with the project once everybody knows the cost?
The cost for our staff will probably remain unknown until we get further into the project because we won't know how many hours things take, we won't know how many things get hit, how much time our staff's going to have to spend, fixing things or addressing things. The process as it's set forth in the new right-of-way ordinance would be for you to review this and decide whether to allow it to move forward or not. If you allow it to move forward, you would then defer to staff to work out the details. Working out the details would include having Banning assist us in review of the project, identifying problems, creating a solid process so that we all are organized and know who is doing what the timeline is, whether we're off timeline, if problems come up, how those are going to be remedied, and so forth. In cases like this, if it strays so far from what you've approved, we would bring it back to you.
Have you heard of our recent water project?
Well, and I don't see anything that obligates Comcast to not see the result of the report from Banning Engineering and decide this is more than they want to do and walk away and leave us with a
We've
bill.
already sunk a pretty significant amount of dollars into this project. We would like to continue.
And also the Banning, they've asked for 10 days, if it's approved, to conduct their initial review. We would be transparent about their findings and recommendations with the Comcast team. It's a collaborative effort. So we would work together to come up with something that satisfies everyone's needs or not. I mean, if we can't reach agreement, then, we would be at an impasse. So they would take the 10 days, we would talk about the changes. If there isn't a lot of, conflict about what we want and what Comcast is willing to do, then we would have a pre-construction meeting where we establish who is doing what, refine timeline. So it's a very transparent process between us, Banning, and Comcast.
I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that we're not stuck holding any costs that we shouldn't have to pay.
Well, and I do appreciate that you gave Brandon the opportunity to kind of give an overview, to be clear about the burden on the town. I do think we've done a pretty good job so far of coming up, since this is it's a very large project, I don't know that we've done a project like this here, of coming up with a way to at least present you with something that you can consider, that I think we have a lot of safety nets with. And also, like I said, if you want to approve it and move forward, then if it's a lot different by the time we get done with all of our discussions, then we would consult with the president and likely and Gary and bring it back to you to point out that this is significantly different.
Mr. Attorney,
Yep.
So would it be way off base that we approved the right-of-way permit, and stipulate that no actual work can take place until a contract is in place between the town and Comcast that ensures all of our concerns are covered, cost-wise, repair-wise, all of those things?
Yeah, so what that would look like, I think that Jenny, the town manager, put it out there, the way that it should look would be, you guys pass this permit, you vote to accept the permit contingent upon staff review, and that staff review would be Brandon, it'd be the utilities, it would be Banning as well. And so Comcast can't move forward based on that wording until they have signed, until the staff, again, Banning the utilities, have signed off on that. So I think that if, based on what I'm hearing, that would be the best way moving forward, is to pass it contingent upon staff review.
That would make me feel better, I know that.
Are there any concerns around that the application that we have is outdated in relation to our current right-of-way permit process?
It sounds like they're kind of already following the new process. I mean,
I just
correct me if I'm
wanna make
wrong, but I mean, they're kind of like back.
That is a problem, and that's why we're looking at a new online resource. So this is going to be much more efficient moving forward once we're able to use the company. I'm gonna propose, and I hope you approve, iWork. The ordinance supersedes the language in the current application. We've provided that to Comcast. There's no disagreement on what the standards are. Regarding the contract specifically, I think that the way their business functions and most business functions, they would not be looking to enter into a contract with us based on the changes in the plan after we go through our discussions. They would be looking for us to issue them a list of conditions to which they would agree. So, if you're looking for a formal contract, I do think that could be problematic just because of how that process would work.
As long as there's understanding on all sides what the end goal is of they're done, restored, so on and so forth.
So that would be laid out in whatever banning permit. What is happening, right, is the ordinance gives banning the ability to look through and issue the permit to us. And then we have to follow that permit. That is kind of your contract. It's not a separate contract that we would then agree with you.
And it all has to align with the grant.
Right.
And we know that on that.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, at this time, we would entertain a motion to approve the Comcast right-of-way permit application.
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I would say so, yeah.
In your motion, you need to say contingent upon staff review, please. Thank you.
I'll make that motion contingent upon staff review.
Gary, do you still second?
Yes,
There you go.
Gary,
yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
No,
Roger,
No.
Chad.
Contingent upon staff review, yes. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Banning Engineering contract to assist with the right-of-way project. So the contract lists that there's a charge of $2,325 for the review. They will attend 2 meetings for a fixed fee of $775. And then any construction observation would be charged at an hourly rate of $145. Then there is a fee schedule that is included should any other additional staff be needed, and the charge per hour for all of those positions. And this would count as our staff review of the right-of-way permit, correct? Would it go through NS or anyone else?
Right.
I will make a motion to approve the Banning Engineering contract for the assistance with the right-of-way project.
Can you add in there that it would be paid by Comcast in the motion?
It's in the permit.
Even though it's ours, it's still gonna be,
That's,
Contingent upon the contract being paid by Comcast.
even though we enter into the contract, they're gonna pay it. That's all.
It's a pass-through cost.
Yes. We need to make sure that's on the record. Correct?
Do we have a second?
Oh, second.
Gary,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie, Roger, Chad.
Yes. All right, our last, with the change of the agenda, our last new business item is an update on the Stony Creek reorganization. Who is speaking on that?
Well, we still have the planning job descriptions.
Oh, we do?
Yes, it's still on.
No, I apologize.
No, the last 2 we took
We
off.
took out- Okay, so I apologize, I got a little overzealous.
But yes, Stony Creek Organization updated.
And I can speak on that if permitted.
Sure.
Yes, please.
So we have met with the attorney for Stony Creek Township and we've discussed what the potential timeline will look like. It doesn't look like it's going to happen by this November, but they have their, they have their town meeting, or their meeting next Tuesday. We really don't have too much more information until they've talked about it at their meeting. And then there's also some new bills that look like they may pass at the state level that may affect it. But again, that won't happen for another 2 weeks or so. So I think at the next town council meeting, we'll have a lot more to update. But right now, it's just, we're looking at a timeline that doesn't get it done by this November, but potentially the year after that.
All right, so legal opinion. If it is not done by this November, one of the, let's call it benefits to Stony Creek of us starting this process is it does protect them from potential annexation through the water territory with Anderson that they were trying to move forward on.
That's correct. And going along with that, we'll have to see what the final verbiage is and the bills that could pass, maybe don't pass, but it would also protect them from what looks to be automatic dissolution into the county going forward, so long as we reaffirm our resolution that we have with them, which it's my understanding they plan to do the same.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding from current law that if this is not on this year's ballot, the chance of Anderson challenging and overturning the work that we have done so far is very high.
It's a possibility, absolutely, but I will stick there. It's a possibility.
So for anybody that is from Stony Creek Township, that is not currently a resident of the town of Lapel, basically, it's a twofold opportunity. One, for the betterment of the township, two, for the betterment of Lapel, that modernization of local government take place where the township and the town merge into the town. One of the benefits to the township is it protects them from Anderson becoming a little overzealous and extending their water territory into Stony Creek Township and ultimately force annexing Stony Creek Township into Anderson. That is put on hold through the action that we've taken to modernize local government by doing this. Anderson already wants to fight what we've done. And if it's not accomplished in this calendar year, the opportunity that they would have to go to court and fight it would be very high. And unfortunately, it sounds like the Stony Creek Township trustees are dragging their feet and don't want to mess with it, is a pretty fair statement. So I would just, if anybody knows anybody that lives in Stony Creek, the unincorporated area, please reach out, educate, talk to them, find out if they know what's going on, because it could be
People
pretty
may
big
want to
deal for
know
them.
where that unincorporated area is.
Anything in Stony Creek that is not Lapel. So
You got
it's a
some
very
roads.
big
I have a
area.
map. I have a map.
Map.
I
So,
printed out.
so yeah, it's, what is it, all the way over to Layton,
It's all the way to Layton. It is
what, the 100,
County Road 10 North, south to County Road 300 south.
Actually, 500 south.
Oh, sorry. The glasses
Is
on.
your class?
So that helps people understand who they're talking to.
Yes, 500 south, all the way over to Lane Road, so it's
pretty big chunk.
basically State Road 13 to Layton.
And then Anderson has taken their second big step to try to work around this. They have announced they're trying to build a bypass that goes from State Road 38 all the way up around through, which if they build that bypass, it would not be difficult to annex all the land that is directly around that. So reach out to people if you know them, make sure they're informed, because it could be quite the thing. So, all right, we will look forward to hearing from you with an update next month. and I believe their meeting is at the South Madison Fire Station 84 out on 200 by the high school next Tuesday, and I'm sorry, I don't know the time.
I can look real quick.
There you go.
Do we have the financial study back yet or a timeline on it?
I will add that. We don't have it back yet, but we're still going forward with it. So we still have that study in the works. So I guess just to
We're doing our
reiterate,
part.
yeah, and they haven't said anything that they are resisting it, I guess to put that out there.
They do have a couple of members that are up for reelection in May though, correct? I think at least one of them is challenged.
I barely know what I'm up for reelection.
I think there's two or three spots for us this year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The three, I thought two were up and at least one was challenged, if not both. So I wonder if that could be stalling the process a little bit as well, and maybe we could.
Just talking to constituents and neighbors.
Stony Creek meeting is next Tuesday at 6 PM at the fire station.
Open to the public.
Found it at the same time.
Do we have a timeline on when the study will be back?
They said March.
March?
I could do it in the.
How many do you have a update on that?
Yeah, it's roughly 90 days, 69 days.
I think certain portions of the study, they can do independent of the outstanding requests they have for information. I have asked if they'll piecemeal it to us so we can be transparent and provide that. I haven't gotten an answer back yet. Now that there really isn't a lot of urgency, I need to revisit timeline with them. But I do think they want to get it off their plate, and they had most of the information already because they had done the parcel by parcel study for the fire territory. And I don't know if you were here for that meeting, but that's why we were able to get such
Right.
a.
Because they already have a lot of this stuff.
I mean, it's my hope we'll be able to provide the bulk of the study by next meeting.
Well, I would say our intention is still that it moves forward full speed on the hope that they'll catch up. Fair enough. All right. All right, next item I accidentally crossed off, Director of Planning job description. Ms. Jenny, would you like to speak on this?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have submitted the job description draft to you. It was posted on our website. Part of the review conducted, I think, is indicating to me that it could be more efficient and effective for us to bring a planner in-house. I know that this is an ongoing discussion, it's still under consideration, but I would ask that you approve the draft job description so that we can have it ready in accordance with our policies if the decision is made to fill that position.
Any questions from the council? For public information, when we approved the last salary ordinance, we recognized the need that planning is becoming a more daunting task. We currently have our consultant that works about a day and a half a week for us. And in review, for the same cost to the consulting firm, we can hire someone with experience that can work about 4 days a week for us directly in the office. So without much additional financial burden, we get a whole lot of additional benefits. So we did post for the position in December, if I remember correctly, December, January. We have received applicants. First round interviews have been done, and second round interviews will be done soon. So we want to make sure that this is ready for when that decision is made.
Correct. I will make a motion to approve the draft job description for planning, Director of Planning.
I will second.
We got ahead of our secretary, sorry.
Gary,
Well, yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
And with that, Mr. President, I'm gonna ask to be excused. Thank you. I did. I'll move this way.
Watch your step, many wires down here. All right, old business, memorandum of understanding for intergovernmental cooperation regarding the Interstate 69 corridor.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Levine with Madison County Council of Governments, and I was here at your last meeting, January 15th, to put in front of the council a memorandum of understanding that received a favorable recommendation from your plan commission at their meeting prior to the January 15th meeting. The memorandum of understanding is basically an agreement with, our office conducted a corridor study along I-69 from exit 214 all the way up to 226 with a 1 mile offset buffer on each side of the state right of way. So this would basically, in the context of Lapel, this would cover a small portion, 1 mile from I-69 up State Road 13. That would be the portion that is covered in this memorandum of understanding. The corridor study looked at land use and transportation improvements along the corridor, and the whole purpose of the document was to provide a document that the different municipalities could use as a set of minimum standards so that when you develop in a multi-jurisdictional area, you have coordinated development along the corridor. We looked at many different things. It's a kind of extensive document. It is available. We did have a representation from all of the communities. So we have Lapel, Ingalls, Madison County, Anderson, and Pendleton were on the committee. Those are all the areas that were affected by the study. They participated in the planning process and we're a part of a steering committee. We also had representation from NDOT because I-69 as well as some of the state roads are NDOT controlled facilities. So we had an NDOT engineer as well as some others from NDOT that were involved in that planning process. And basically we, like I said, we developed a set of minimum standards. We looked at all of the community's existing ordinances and plans, comprehensive plans, et cetera. And we met with all of the communities, like I said, in the steering committee meetings, and we also met with all of the communities to go over their future desired land use map. And then we developed, that's when we drafted the minimum standards that they all agreed to during the steering committee meetings. So basically what this would be is you would draft an overlay district for that portion that is, you know, in the 1 mile offset of the state right of way there. It would not affect the entire town of Lapel. The memorandum of understanding is, I have a couple of copies here if you want to see them. So far we have Ingalls and Pendleton have signed on to this, and we're asking Lapel to sign on to it as well. It does have an exit. Pendleton's attorney went over this and they asked if they could have, you know, if they want to get out of it at any time. There's language in here that it's basically a 30-day notice to the other parties, and then it would be, you know, Lapel would be able to exit if they wanted to.
Is this a new agreement than the one we had at the last meeting?
It's the same. It's the same. I can give you copies of
I
it.
know.
Has it been amended since the last meeting?
It has
or-
not been amended. No.
So it's the same one we've already
It's the-
signed off on.
Yes, but it didn't count last time, so I brought new copies, because it didn't receive.
Well, the language that, the amendment or the agreement itself, lovely. The agreement that you're talking about says no termination unless amended. And then it says no amendment is permitted without the agreement signed by all parties. So we are obligated into that, and we can't leave unless everyone says we can leave. That's my problem with it. Everything else, we could write our own agreement and say, we'll do 100% of these things, but I don't wanna sign that.
Under 4B, it says any party may, if deemed in its sole discretion to be in its best interest and upon 30 days written notice to the other parties, deliver notice of election to
It's
the.
changed.
And that's not what we
That's all
have.
we have. Well, we have 4B says, no alteration, modification, or amendment to this MOU is permitted except by written agreement signed by all parties.
It doesn't have the 30 days in there, just.
Yeah, I think you have some conflicting.
I'm just saying
I
it's-
don't know where you got that document. That was not provided by me. That might be an old version that maybe the plan commission gave you or.
This is,
But that document that I just gave you now is the one that was revised by the Ingalls and Pelton attorneys, and they came to that agreement of adding that in there. Which this one would allow you to edit.
Right, and I think they hadn't signed yet by the time when you come to the planning commission. They hadn't signed yet, so it probably has changed since the version. We didn't get a copy of the new version
Okay,
since he revised it.
this is the current version that the two other parties have agreed to, Ingalls and Pelton.
And to clarify, at our last meeting, we only had 3 members. We had 2 vote yes and 1 vote no, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And something of this nature requires an actual majority. If 3 of us would have voted yes, it would have been accepted at the last meeting. Since we only had 5 council members, it was not approved based on that information. So just for clarification, for anybody want to know why it came back. And while they review that, just for the clarification, so this is for the 1 mile north and south of State Road 13 off of the state's right of way for the interstate, correct?
That's correct.
So the state's right of way would end where in, compared to on-ramp, off-ramp, approximately?
Jerry, do you know?
Yeah, it probably ends about 1,000 feet from the ramp at most.
So north of that.
Yeah.
So the Lapel boundary, just for information for everybody, our boundary to the south is State Road 700. So this would. State Road.
County Road.
County Road, sorry, State Road, County Road. It's a 700. So that is our southern boundary. So there'd be maybe 3/4 of a mile of Lapel that falls under this jurisdiction. The south side of 700 to the west is Ingalls, and the south side to the east is Pendleton. So all 3 of our jurisdictions kind of collide at that intersection. So just for clarification for the area that this agreement affects.
And I think the version that you guys had, based on discussion with Ralph and John, is the one that was originally handed out to your plan commission 6-7 months ago. And Ingalls and Pendleton have approved it during that time period, if I remember right. So,
Based on those revisions.
correct.
That's correct.
We're gonna give them a moment to peruse since it's a very specific item that is causing the concern, we will make sure that they are good with the revised as presented to us here.
Remind me of the website that this is on. I can't remember. Heartlands, yeah.
Heartlandnpo.org.
Okay, thank you.
so basically, if we don't want to do something that's in it, we can't come to agreement, we just resign from the agreement.
Withdraw from that.
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to take it from you.
Yeah, I did, sorry that you read it.
I knew of the adjustment.
I don't have any problems with it written like that. Seems to be
Yeah. And again, this is ultimately for 3/4 of a mile of Lapel down there.
Now.
Yep.
Yeah, the blackout line, so you come down just that road is where you're talking about.
Yep.
It's really just there.
All right, they have reviewed, and it sounds like the clause is in effect, and we're happy with it. All right, we'll need one of those to become an official copy for the town. There we go. I would entertain a motion to accept the MOU, as presented in paper form.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes,
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Chad did not take paperwork. All right. Next, reaffirmation of resolution 5-2025 on the reorganization. Basically, this is, as we have discussed, we still wish to move forward. So we want to vote that we are continuing to move forward with the reorganization.
Would you like for me to read the title of the resolution?
Yes, please.
It's a joint resolution of the Lapel Town Council and the Stony Creek Township Board of Trustees proposing reorganization under Indiana Code Title 36, Article 1.5, Chapter 4. It is our resolution 5-2025 that you guys passed last fall. We are going to reaffirm it, and then I am going to certify it to Diane Lawther, the trustee for Stony Creek. Then they're supposed to reaffirm theirs Tuesday, then she's gonna certify it back to me so that we have it legally done in a certain order.
Very good. I would make a motion that we approve and reaffirm, resolution 5-2025.
Second.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
yes,
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, on to department reports. Chief.
Okay, real quick. I just wanted to clarify something that was said earlier about the ordinance bureau and the using Elwood. So just so we understand that if we write a local ordinance, there's two different types of ordinances. Obviously, there's a moving ordinance, there's a zoning ordinance, which are normally presented by the code enforcement. We normally deal with the moving or those ordinances which are against people or property. The ordinance bureau is basically a deferral program. If we write it, it goes to the ordinance bureau. They have a certain amount of days to pay it. They can either pay it, they can refuse to pay it, or they can request trial. At that point, that's when it would go to our attorney, who then goes to the Elwood City Court. The code enforcement violations go straight to Elwood City Court. They don't have that middle step. So that's where the big difference is. Obviously, when we write an ordinance violation for the police department, one of the benefits is I've always said before, my goal is to stop behavior, modify behavior, not to punish. If we can do that by writing a local ordinance, which we haven't been able to do for a while, with codification, it stops and modifies behavior with a cheaper amount than having to go to Elwood City Court and then have to pay your court fines and everything else. So that's where the benefit of the ordinance bureau comes in for those ordinances. I just wanted to clarify that. That's how that works as far as the ordinances go. Update on personnel. We've not had a lot of updates here in the last month. Sergeant Petty and SRO Nivens completed firearms liaison training, which now makes us have 3 firearms liaison. The benefit of that is with the ever-changing court systems, the prosecutor is now requesting that we have, anytime a firearm is removed from a vehicle that has been suspected of being used in a crime, they don't want it being removed the way we always used to remove them. All this training does is it teaches them how to remove the DNA, how to collect DNA, how to do more forensics on the firearm, how to document, how to prepare it to go to court so that the prosecutor has a better case on dealing with any crime involving a gun. That's the biggest thing. And it's a benefit. They're growing throughout the county. We have more and more officers throughout the county that are going this class. So this now gives us 3. I've got 2 more going throughout the year. Eventually, I'd like to get all my road officers to have them. That way, we're not dependent upon any other agency, and then we're not incurring overtime costs by calling in a firearms liaison on a case. It's free training, so. Vehicles update, obviously, we didn't have a whole lot. Luckily, vehicle 25-2, which is the second F-150, is completed upfit. It is in service. 2020 F-150, it is going in for inspection for possible worn out motor mounts. We'll determine that after the inspection. Madison County Sheriff's Office donated a used computer docking station that we use inside our vehicles. And the Anderson Police Department donated a brand new in-car printer for the F-150 truck, which was a savings of about $1,500 to the town. So we'd like to appreciate that and tell them thank you. Maintenance wise, as far as premises, the gas furnace in the garage went out. And of course, it went out on one of the coldest days of the year. We had it fixed quite quickly, and I believe the cost was off the top of my head, $389, $386. But it's repaired and up and running. Incidents for the month, calls for service. We had 331 calls for service. We wrote 12 citations, traffic citations, and then we wrote 20 traffic warnings. We had 5 criminal charges filed, and we completed 12 vehicle crash reports. But that also covers that period that we had with the thick snow. So I think we actually did fairly well. We did not have a lot of accidents, mainly slide-offs without any damage to property or people. So that was a quick down dirty of the report. You've got the numbers on the back. Any questions, Rita?
I have some.
Go for it.
When we collect money for violations, where's that money go?
By state statute, it goes into our continuing education fund.
Alright. And then is that the same education that you and I had talked once before, that you train officers to be trainer level so that we can farm them out to their departments and recover some of our education costs?
That is covered for any law enforcement training. It's an unrestricted fund. It's a semi-restricted fund. But what we use it for is cost of these schools. Sending new officers to the academy. And anything that has to do with training, if we need training equipment, it goes to that.
I know when the last meeting that I attended when we talked, maybe I didn't attend, I might have been sick that one, we talked about the dog ordinance. And I've heard you say this before, so I just wanted to be clear so I understood. I've heard you say several times that you've come to the council asking for things that you need to be able to effectively, do your job. Do you feel like you have those things now that we have this interlocal agreement? Whereas there's still more that you need to be able to feel like you can enforce ordinances and?
No, as we said in the last meeting, the codification of the ordinances, that's the biggest thing we need. We've got to have the ordinances codified. They haven't been codified since 1989, 82.
So until that comes back, we can't enforce them as they are.
90% of my ordinances I can't enforce by ordinance, but I can enforce by state statute.
Meaning the state statute conflicts?
No, meaning that it's going through Elwood City Court, they're paying the court fees, they're doing all of that. but not every ordinance has a state statute. It may be based off of a state statute, as far as the state statute may give us approval to create an ordinance, but there is not an equivalent or a state statute in place that imposes fines or penalties.
So we can't impose fines or penalties on our own ordinances unless they're backed up by a state ordinance that or state law that allows us to?
No, it's completely different.
I'm confused, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If our ordinances being not codified
Mhm.
make them nearly impossible to enforce.
I'll give you a quick down example.
Yep.
Okay. We may have one ordinance, and the ordinances as we have them, say it's, I don't, we didn't pass an ordinance tonight, but say it was ordinance 25006. That's how it's listed. Okay, well, that ordinance may cover, and I'm just pulling this out, it's not an order, that ordinance may be covering no parking somewhere in town. We've also got ordinance 23002, 2100. The problem with that is there's no codification, so there's not one place where all of those ordinances, where updates have been made. So to figure out whatever the current ordinance is, or how that ordinance is affected, you have to go and find all the ordinances and then see what part changed what part, what's still good on the original ordinance, what's not good on that original ordinance. That's where the codification comes into play. They take all of those, and as we pass new ordinances, if it makes a change on a different ordinance, the company that we're hiring will then make the change to the codified ordinance, and then that makes that one ordinance. It also issues it a codified number. Those numbers then I give to JTAC, which is where we're the courts. We can then use our in-car ticketing system. We can write it. We can provide it to the Ordinance Bureau. The Ordinance Bureau can track it. So as of right now, the majority of the ordinances that we can write, we are using state statute if there is one.
And our timeline for having the codification back?
Codification, they were wrapping up the draft last I knew.
I believe so, yeah, I did get her the rest of 2025 at the end of 2025, so. I
So-
haven't had an update lately from her.
When they get that done, they'll send it to us to review to make sure everything makes sense ultimately in layman's terms. And then before we can accept it, we have to have public hearings, if I remember correctly, and go through that whole process. Then we will have to vote to repeal all previous and accept all new going forward, and that'll take multiple votes before it would actually kick in.
Correct.
But a good example is if you're wondering about the codification, so he's talking about being different ordinances all over the place. If you look at any Indiana state statute, you're gonna see, 95 sections, and you'll get to one that says repealed by this one.
Mhm.
And codification, it gets rid of all those old, so you're keeping it all in one place. It puts it all in the same bucket. So can't use cookie jar on this one.
So maybe a dumb question, but once we spend the money to get this done, we go through this entire process, who's gonna be responsible for maintaining it?
That's part of the contract that we have with the company. So as we get things, we send it to them.
That's not something we can do on our own?
No.
Okay.
Okay, and the last thing, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Submitted we have 2 parades this year that will be covering Interstate 13. The Philly Fair Parade is every year. We have to close a section of it down. And then we have the Lapel High School is doing their bonfire parade homecoming again this year. In order to shut that down and to stay out of trouble, I have to submit for a permit to NDOT. Well, the new NDOT permitting system, they now have a new form that needs to be signed by the council. It's what's actual title, Old Harvest?
It is the concurrence for temporary use of city or county streets or roads for a temporary detour of State Road 13, that the town board agrees that any damages to county roads, streets, intersections, public and private property caused by the detour will be the responsibility of us.
Where that would really come into play is if we were a maintenance crew, because it doesn't distinguish between a municipality who wants to close it down for a parade and a maintenance crew who wants to do maintenance on the side of the road and they want to protect the road from being tore up. That's basically what the difference, what we do.
Big umbrella.
We put 4 cars out, we stop traffic for 30 minutes and then we move the cars. That's all we do.
If there's any damage, we can just
The
deduct it
damage
from
would be done by the
cost.
candy.
Yeah, the candy,
Of course.
the candy might fill some potholes.
Right.
This has to be signed off on by 2 members of the board. So what I would do at this time is, make a motion, that the town council approves, the permit application for the state of Indiana for the detours of State Road 13 for the 2 events listed by the chief.
Did you make that?
That is a main motion.
Second.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, I have one other question,
Go for it.
and I don't know if this is a him question or an us question. Would it be possible to get these staff reports prior to the meeting so we can attach these to the agenda for the public to be able to see?
That is, I'm sure it's possible. When do you pull the data for the report?
Okay, so in the past, we used to have them all together and it was all done. So I would work offline with you to figure out who is actually posting what for the agenda, because I have no idea who's doing it. I know there's some other things going on. We can get it done. But as we used to do, it was through SharePoint. I don't know that it's still on. I have no idea. If it's still on SharePoint, that's an easy fix. If it's not, as we continue our migration into Microsoft 365, that's obviously something else that can be done. So.
Coordinate with that nice lady standing or sitting next to you at the table there.
It'll be done.
There you go. All right. Planning. We have a representative from planning here today.
I'm here.
There you go. Miss it, head to the podium.
I'm not, am I official? The last meeting, we introduced, Marcellus introduced some new forms to be added to the commission. However, I believe we tabled that. We're gonna have to re-vote on that. The information for the public meeting was not posted in a timely manner per open door law. So we agreed to re-vote on just the forms. Thankfully, we just spoke about the forms and what else to speak about? I have a brain fart, I apologize.
Can I speak on
Yeah,
that
go
for just a second? It was out of an abundance of caution that we opted to table it. I mean, the requirement was if we had already gotten a calendar, so it was, we didn't have to put out a notice, but just because we would prefer to have that transparency, we opted to table it, and that way our next meeting, we will have the notice put out just as a best practice. So that's what happened there.
Good deal. No crazy developments,
No.
500 houses, anything like that?
And we voted officers as well. So officers stay the same. And then that's it. Thankfully, a short meeting for everything that had to be accomplished. And we have another meeting, let me look at my calendar, the 12th of March at normal time.
All right, and I have a note here of an appointment of a BZA member. Did we appoint a BZA member? No, that's not happening, okay. Do we still need applicants for a BZA member? Or are we just awaiting?
She's interested.
Hmm?
Do we appoint it or does the planning?
That I don't have that clarification. I just have a note under the planning.
I can get that clarification to you, but if I recall correctly, it's split both, some appointed by the town council and others by the planning commission.
Well, wait, the person, You're replacing was appointed by the council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore, you guys appoint.
Miss Jenny?
So we're working to make sure we have all the right information. But I think this member of the BZA is appointed by the council or the president, and it must be a member of the plan commission.
Yes.
So it's incumbent upon you to select someone who's on the plan commission to be appointed to the BZA.
Okay. With our new liaison to the planning commission, we would like to have a recommendation from you after your next meeting. That'd be the first, or what, second Thursday? So we can discuss it within the planning commission, find out who's interested on being on the BZA, and then bring a recommendation to us at the next meeting.
I do have a question for the colonel. If an agenda is provided or chosen to be used for meetings such as planning, it has to be posted 48 hours in advance, right? But they're not required to use an agenda.
The best practices, an agenda should be posted 48 hours before, and it can be amended during.
Okay. But here's my question though, and I think this applies to any like advisory board as well as any board that has to file paperwork with State Board of Accounts, right? So question, I noticed that we don't have agendas and minutes for parks or redevelopment. Is that something we should be doing?
I believe we were looking into that today specifically. We should, I will get, we will work on that going forward.
Okay, thank you.
There are minutes for the Parks Department.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I guess when you gave them to me, I didn't think to upload them.
They get put in the book.
Yeah, they get put in the minutes.
They've just never been updated to the website.
Yeah, so.
I just asked because when I went looking for information, I couldn't find anything, so then I had to bug people, so I thought, well.
And the RDC, their minutes are taken by Amanda Padoff, she's their secretary. And I don't know that they've ever been uploaded to.
No, but.
The only thing required by the State Board of Accounts has always been the council meeting minutes. And then when they come, they look, they're required to be uploaded into Gateway. I guess I should clarify that, yeah.
Required, I get
Yeah.
required, I'm certainly not trying to start more work for anybody, I think the public, if they want to engage, should be able to access information. I mean,
That's
I
fine,
know we post the meetings online now, but not everybody can sit there and watch the whole meeting, and if you miss a meeting, it's really helpful
Yeah.
to be able to.
They do have them, I just didn't even think to upload them when Katie gave them to me.
Are they in Gateway?
No, I meant uploaded to she's talking about on our, website.
Right.
Yeah.
We're required to put it on Gateway.
I'm required to put town council meeting minutes on Gateway.
Oh my, okay.
At least that's what I've been told.
Well,
I learn new things every day.
Yeah, no, I'm researching that code right now.
Yeah. When one auditor tells us everything is fine, and the one that comes 2 years later says, oh no, that's all wrong. One of those fun things that you learn how that goes. Utility update, Mr. Brandon.
All right, mine's pretty short. Dan steals a lot of my updates. Let's see. The tower mixer, our local electrician's coming to pick up the tower mixer tomorrow morning. So that'll be the last step in the tower project. That'll completely get that up and going. When I took over the utilities, I noticed at the water plant that we've been kind of lack on like cross connection and backflow prevention in the water system. We're really good with it on the industrial side of it, but like the smaller, like irrigation and lawns, stuff like that. Opie worked really hard to get a list together, going through previous documents and stuff like that of who should have one, who's exempt, all that stuff. So just any resident that has like irrigation or any small businesses, be on the lookout. We're gonna start sending out letters, just to have those certified, and then those certifications come back to us and we keep them on file, just so that we know that everything's covered. The town already has an ordinance for it. It's ordinance 11-2019. And it's just step by step on how to fill out the forms. Other than that, the snow's melted, so we haven't put the plows away yet, just in case. But,
Don't want to jinx it.
yeah,
A few weeks ago, it's been sectional.
but that's all I got.
The groundhog says it can still happen.
You never know. So,
It's worth madness at this point.
Anything else?
no, that's all I got unless you got something for me.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Parks.
We held election of officers as well, and then I do have a current vacancy. Jake Hunsinger has resigned his position due to work issues. So if you guys could post to collect possible candidates for that spot. Any questions for me?
What are you gonna spend all your money on this year?
I have just enough money to buy mulch.
The extra 20 grand?
It's not an extra 20 grand.
Explain, talk to us.
So the budget last year was roughly 50,000. It increased this year to 60,000. Mulch is just over 10,000. So I can mulch the playgrounds.
And it takes a very special ADA requirement.
It's a
mulch that is
certified-
Very,
Yeah.
Certified
very
mulch, yes.
expensive.
Yeah, it's certified.
Despite our efforts to go over to Rogers Park in Noblesville and steal it, that didn't work.
We don't have mulch.
Brandon's
That
got
was
it,
where it didn't
good.
work.
We got only
Alright.
40 last year.
Was it only 40 last year? But then by the time we were done spending for the year, well, actually, no, because I don't have that amount yet. So, okay, so even if there's 20,000,
You had 11,000 left in the Parks Department at the end of the year last year. You only
that's new.
gave you four, because I get into my part here in a minute. So you had that $11,000 left over out of your 40 you got last year,
Perfect.
plus you got your other 40, plus I got you 20,000 more.
I'll get you a list.
So do you have an actual budget?
Not that I've been given.
Have you ever written one? Want some help?
Like, so ours is separated, because we have, what is it, 6 or 7 different cookies in our jar.
Still use that in help.
Majority of it though is eaten up in insurance, it's eaten up in payroll. We do have rental fees for the porta potties and that sort of thing. So to have an actual spendable budget, we haven't had in probably 4 years.
It's been
So-
longer than that, because
So
the guys, the Bodenhorn Park thing,
Yeah.
Yes,
But we're free of that now, right? Like it's all back to, okay.
yes.
So like is maintenance for the little buildings and the picnic table, does all that fall under you guys too?
Yeah, so like we have a maintenance budget, but the cost of fixing those is over the spendable amount that we've had the last few years. So the last few years, our budget has strictly been operating costs, just to run the parks, not to do any upkeep or maintenance. That was just base operating costs. So there is a maintenance line, but because of the expenses that we've had, there hasn't been anything to maintain those.
I'm gonna get together with you at some point.
Absolutely.
Alright.
Anything else, Bobby? Alright.
All right, next up, redevelopment. We did not have a redevelopment meeting today. We did have members that, due to other commitments that had been missing, are no longer available and have resigned. So we did not have enough members to have a meeting tonight. We currently only have 2 members, and we have a third that has submitted their preliminary resignation due to other commitments, effective next month. So, we are in desperate need of people from the community to join our redevelopment commission. I know we had, I believe, someone that was to fill our previous opening. That information had not been shared with me, so if anybody has that information, we can at least discuss that and then try to get 2 more. No?
I don't know.
Wasn't for me.
So does the public know what the redevelopment commission does?
Probably not.
It's the fun one. It's where you get to spend money.
Not exactly.
If you can pry it out of Chad's cold hands.
It's not a matter of prying out of Chad's cold hands. It's have enough money to actually do something. The way that the redevelopment works is it is funded by TIF dollars, all right? So the limitation on TIF dollars is you can TIF new developments that come in. I don't know if anybody's paid attention. We're not exactly getting hit with a ton of new developments, all right? Yet. So if you take a Carmel that taxed half of Hamilton County with a TIF, that gets millions upon millions of dollars with a TIF, they have taken out debt against future TIF payments. Once you do that, there is a timeline put on and your TIF ends in 25 years. So because we only have, and I'm gonna defer to our clerk treasurer since we didn't have a meeting tonight, I didn't get a report. What's our current fund balance for TIF? Let's say it's somewhere in the $100,000.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's right. I can look it up for you real quick off the top of my head. I don't know.
So what we've done with the TIF fund over the last couple of years, and keep in mind 5 years ago was our first payment into the redevelopment fund. So we have grown it to, I want to say it's $400,000 or $500,000 at this point.
I want to say for 457, but I don't want to lie.
No, total in the 5 years.
So what's it been spent on if we only have 100,000 left?
No,
No.
400.
We have
Oh, we have 400 in there
450,000
now.
left. We get about $100,000 a year.
Okay.
So we've
The
been
way you were
using it.
presenting that.
It was, it's $100,000 in some multiple. I didn't know it was.
Per year that we're
We
receiving.
get about 100,000 per year. In the fund, we've amassed about 400,000 or 500,000. Teresa's all gonna get the
And
official number.
we were shorted this year because we had one business that still hadn't paid their taxes yet.
And what's the fine for them?
That all goes through, it's the same as property taxes. So,
So if a community member, if an organization, if a parks department has a project that applies, that money can be spent, how would they propose that to the RDC?
so they would have to submit a proposal to the RDC. The RDC can fund up to a certain percentage of a project as long as the project meets the rules set forth for the redevelopment. So, and they massively changed those rules the last 2 years. Reedy Financial, who is our financial advisor, I have reached out to them requesting a cheat sheet of what you can and can't do with it based on the current laws. The other thing is we have, at our last meeting that we had, we have authorized getting a quote from Reedy to renew and update our redevelopment plan. So,
You submitted if I remember what you said at the end of last year, you've already submitted a plan for how you intend to spend that money, but you can change it if something comes
so
up.
the state requires us to submit a plan for how we're gonna spend the money. If we don't have any specific projects earmarked, we will at least establish a dollar amount for specific areas where we know we have an opportunity, to at least have funds available without having to go through a whole rigmarole of getting it approved. If something comes to us and it's within that category and how much we can spend, we as a commission can authorize it. So in the past, we funded the thoroughfare plan, the Parks Master Plan. They funded the legal fees for the new town hall. They're funding the financial study with Reedy for the reorganization. So we've been using that money to supplement and help move things forward over the last few years. And this is where I have to get the clarification from them, because it used to be we could pay for no more than half of a thing. So now I believe we can pay for the whole of a thing as long as it's less than half of our funds. So just waiting on the clarification on that. So where redevelopment will get big and exciting is as soon as we start having development start knocking on our door. Ingalls has the new retailer coming in down there. that is already starting to pop off growth on the corridor, people showing interest in things. So part of what that can be used to fund would be, well, if, say, we're gonna build a frontage road all the way down 13, to where you could have little stores in the front and big stuff in the back, they could help fund the sidewalk that runs the whole way down through there, or the median, or, there's so many different things that it can do. But you have to have development to actually generate funds so that you can turn around and repurpose that for more development, or to benefit the development of the town. And the entire town is our redevelopment district, so
Any development in the town.
any development that comes into the town can contribute if we designated it under TIF. So typically you don't TIF standard housing, because a TIF does take money away from every other taxing entity in the area, one of those being the school. So the last thing you would want to do is take a pile of money away from the school when you're going to have potentially 1,000 kids move in. So it's been the practice that you don't TIF standard housing, but you TIF businesses, apartment complexes, things like that, for the greater good of everything. But yeah, so anybody that's interested, we desperately need people. Please submit, if you have a resume or a letter of interest, to town hall in person, or you can email it to info@lapelindiana.org.
And I have that number for you. I was off by about 10,000. It's $466,400.05.
Price is Right rules you live. All right. Next, administration, Ms. Jenny.
I want to start by saying I'm so happy we figured out why there was confusion about the 69 corridor. And I'm kicking myself because it was right in front of me to figure it out and I just missed it. We were looking at the wrong copies. So apologies for that. I should be a better investigator. Also, I appreciate your questions about appointments and who gets appointed when and for what term. We are working on that. We're working on coming up with a good updated master document so that we can prepare for vacancies. And also, we want to conduct outreach to make sure anybody who might want to participate in these knows how and what they would be signing up for. So I appreciate all the conversation on that. On April 28th at 1 p.m., the IURC hearing will be held regarding our petition to sell our gas utility. We remain on track for this transaction to be completed by the end of the year. Another item I'd like to share is that I'm going to try not to use all the acronyms. The Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA, in cooperation with the Indiana Communities Institute, ICI, has started a project. They've launched it. It's called the Rural Empowerment and Development Program, or RED program, here in Madison County. Madison County is one of just 2 counties that were selected for this program. I am participating on behalf of Lapel. It's aimed at building our capacity to get organized, be competitive, and fund projects. The first session was extremely productive. I look forward to updating you as this process unfolds. Speaking of cooperation, we are also in the very beginning stages of trying to work with our neighbors, our neighboring communities, to identify some solutions, as Chief has discussed, for our animal services. We believe if we could work together with other communities who are in a similar situation, we would be able to create a more efficient plan for dealing with animal issues. To that end, the town managers of Ingalls, Lapel, and Pendleton have met. We're looking at how to use the district legislation similar to what was used for the fire district, perhaps, to create a framework for partnering on those things. We're also looking for partner organizations. I think that APL in Anderson is one that we would like to see if there is any runway to come to an agreement with them perhaps, so that we can maximize our dollars by folding into a structure that already exists. With that, I did not have any other prepared remarks, but I'm happy to answer any questions. It's good for me to go at the end of the meeting, right? Thank you.
All right, the clerk treasurer report.
Okay, just to give you an update, I closed out the end of the year. I'm working, on getting the last couple things done for the annual financial report and Gateway. Larry Tippin is gonna stop in tomorrow, to help me finalize. We had machinery, the section on machinery, I had to, we bought a few vehicles this last year, so those all have to be put in there. And all that has to be done by February 28th. Also getting started on the EIA 176 for the gas. It's a big spreadsheet I gotta do, so it shows gas loss. Then me and Brandon have to upload it. That has to be done by the end of the month as well. I think that was all I had, other than, I do publicly want to acknowledge that Christy has filled out her uniform conflict of interest and her, nepotism policy. And Chad, you will need to sign these before you leave tonight.
Very good.
And, my bank rec's not done. I had a deposit in and I have, haven't got the paperwork for where that deposit came from yet, so I'm not able to complete my January bank rec yet. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Randy. All right, approval of minutes. We should have minutes from November, and December, November 20th and December 10th of 2025.
I don't vote on these, right? Because I wasn't.
You can. You don't have to have been here to vote on it.
You can still review,
Gotcha.
Yep. Everyone had an opportunity to review those minutes.
I have a question about the November minutes.
Okay.
It indicates that there were people appointed to the committee for, the reorganization, and I know Lindsay was one of them, but I can't remember who else it was, and the minutes still stipulate.
It should have said in there. I typed them in there.
I did not see it.
You didn't see it in there either?
No, but.
I think I had 2 of them started for November, and I must have.
I was just wondering if anybody remembered who.
Yeah, so it was me, it was Tyler Prater, me, and Lindsay,
Okay.
but I'll need to get that in there. But I remember typing it, and I may have printed the wrong one off today when I send them to you. I can't even find my copy now.
All right, so sounds like we would need a motion to approve the minutes as presented with a correction to November, adding the names of the folks on the reorganization committee.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, next is the February claims. So I've had an opportunity to review those.
Teresa, is it possible to put the claims on the agenda too? Attach them?
Attach them to the agenda?
Like when we put it online, even if we go back and do it after in case people have questions about what, I'm just thinking it would save you a lot of record, I guess.
One of the things that's in progress this year is our new website, to where it would be the depository for all documents, and an agenda would go out with a link to the document.
Beautiful.
So just, that is part of the process.
What's our timeline on that?
That's a great question.
So in the meantime, is that possible to add those?
It's just a matter of, we don't have a place to upload them to have a link to them.
Well, I mean, put everything else on
On the agenda?
there. Yeah, we embed them as a PDF to the agenda online.
Oh, it's not in the links that I'm receiving. I
Right,
never
right.
looked at the one, okay,
I'm
I
just,
follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
Gotcha.
know what she's saying.
I follow, that's
I'm
it.
just saying.
I'm not looking at that one.
Yeah.
So I go through the one on the email, I'm like, I've never seen a link on there. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the claims as presented? Go ahead.
Well, I'm still going back, I'm stuck on the minutes thing. December is when they voted to put us on the, reorganization committee.
Oh.
It
So
was
we
in
need to-
December. I knew I typed
So we
it.
need to redo our motion.
Huh?
Did we vote on that to approve?
So we need to strike that out of the November minutes then?
That would be, we need to revote.
Do the reorganization, but we see the people on.
Okay.
All right, let's get clarification, because we voted and
I
approved
don't
amending the November minutes, so we need to,
wanna amend.
I'm sorry, I don't want to be the
It's all
rock in the
I
shoe, I
think in
just want to do it
November,
right.
We voted to go ahead with the reorganization, but we had to put it
Okay. Robertson nominated Rutherford to the Oversight Committee, second by Shuck, and all were in favor. Robertson nominated Shuck to the Oversight Committee, second by Blake, and all were in favor. Shuck nominated Tyler Prater as a resident of Lapel to the Oversight Committee, second by Robertson, all were in favor. Robertson nominated Washmuth to the Oversight Committee second by Blake, and all were in favor, and that was the December 18th meeting.
which we
I
don't
just
have,
didn't,
no.
I didn't get them quite finished today. I had a little bit more to go and I didn't get them done this evening.
Okay, so we need to revote to approve the minutes as presented with no amendments.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted without amendment.
Who's second?
Roger?
Okay. Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes,
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, now to the February claims.
my apologies.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the claims?
Yes.
We would entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Abstain. All right, and then the approval of the allowance docket, which is just a summary of the,
I'll make the motion to approve the allowance docket for January.
I'll second.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, next up on our agenda is public comment concerns. I saw no one on the sign-up sheet at the desk. Was the sign-up sheet turned in, Mr. Shuck, prior to his departure?
I didn't see it.
Okay. Then anyone that is interested may step forward at this time for comment.
Okay, this meeting has been over 2 hours. To have anybody get this done in 3 minutes is very hard pressed to be able to get everything in that you guys have just done for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I do want to say that I do think it is very disrespectful to the community who you work for, that you're gonna hold them all the way till the end before they can have something to say. So some people do have families that they need to get onto, or babysitters that they're paying. We should be able to speak at the beginning and they should speak at the end. It really should be you who's presenting to the people, not the attorney. We didn't elect him to run our meetings. We elected you to run our meetings. So it would be much appreciative if you addressed us on how we're going to run public comment. Now, with that being said, what happens, I mean, and here's the thing, I gotta go through 2 hours of stuff here. So what happens with this water project when we run out of money? Does it just stop somewhere in town and that house just doesn't get anything? Because it certainly has happened to my houses when we had all this grant money, we were supposed to replace this stuff, and it never got addressed at 3 of my houses. So what happens when we run out of money? So and here's the other thing, if our water is leaking now, what is leaking in? That's a big concern as well. We need to make it real clear to the public that bonds are debt, that is an interest that we are collecting and we will eat. The way that you guys are doing bonds and how you're doing the money, our children won't even get this paid off. We cannot live in debt. That's not the American way. I know we've been doing it for years. You know, the assumption of, well, we're assuming this is what's happening. No, you can't come in here and make assumptions. We need to have black and white numbers that are going on. I don't know about you, but that's how you do a budget. I don't understand how, tonight, I have watched people in this meeting who make six figures off us taxpayers, and they are not prepared for this meeting. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? People come into my office every day. They don't expect me to say, well, I assume this is what's gonna happen. They want to know what their options are. If you're not gonna research it before you come in here, don't do your job. Then resign and let somebody get in there who's gonna come in here with actual facts. Katie, TIF money. TIF money can be used for your parks. Look it up. Your development, your mulch, you should never be without it. You can use TIF money for all that. They've got all that money sitting in there. It's part of that.
Our
Look
rules
at that.
require comments to be
So-
addressed to the council.
I will address them to who I want to. You're not the elected official. You're the town manager,
Catherine.
and you can sit there.
It's our
Catherine.
Well,
policy.
I'm not talking to you, am I?
Policies that.
Well, I'm not talking to you.
Catherine, just please
So-
keep it addressed to the council,
And I'm
as
doing that.
we are the people elected and paid to do
Okay,
this job.
so we should be telling our people who work for us, especially our parks in our environment, which we live, and we want our kids to have a place to play, that they can use TIF money for that. She is always up here begging for money, and she shouldn't be in that position. We are not being transparent at all. I mean, the fact that I have sat here for this long in order to even be able to speak or be heard, I probably would have left long ago. And quite honestly, it's very evident as the people who have been watching on live, we are down now to 2 people. We had about 40 when we started. So this is a big deal to hold everybody this long before they're able to speak. I mean, you just have to go through this. How many consultants is our community paying? I mean, I have no idea. Everything I hear about, it's always, we got a consultant for this, we got a consultant for that. The other thing is, are we paying these grant writers? Are we paying them a fee in order to get the grants? And if we are, how much is that gonna be? Let's see here. Okay, so if someone doesn't want a spindle in their yard, say they're putting that cable wire there and they don't want it, do we just skip that house? And then how do they lay that wiring, or how does that go? I don't know. I have one house that is vacant right now, so nobody's there, so they're gonna leave a door knocker there, they're gonna knock on the door. How am I gonna be able to communicate with that person? I have no idea, so I'm listening to all of that. And yes, I'm all over the place because I had to take a million notes here. And for transparency's sake, when we have our town manager speak on when she's dealing with Pendleton or Ingalls, I do think it would be imperative that the people all be aware that the town manager of Pendleton is also her husband. And I think that should be something that's brought up every time. And many people are unsure of what is supposed to be going on. We just have no idea, and I just don't understand why we can't get things up on the internet for all of us to see, and most everything has to be put up by the public. It's really not fair to them. So that's about all I can get through in about 6 minutes, because there's no way I can put things together after 2.5 hours.
Thank you, Catherine. Anyone else?
Alicia West. I have several questions. I had a couple of people reach out to me in the public asking for clarification on the gas refund that was 3-4 years ago, was it? About, and how that was refunded back to our residents. Could somebody like just touch quick base on
Have
that?
them reach out to me, please.
Okay, and then for myself, like, how was that refunded?
If you wanna give me a call at the office.
Why can't we just?
I can help with that. Our policy that we just passed is that this is an opportunity to address the council.
The council doesn't answer to the public.
Wow.
Is that something that we can put a statement out about?
I've said it many meetings. It went back on their bills through the tracking factor over the last 2 years.
And that's what I told them, but I just wanted clarification.
They-
Some
you
of
would-
those people are.
Some of them are different than, not everybody's is the same.
Okay,
So it depended on how much gas you use.
okay, fair.
Yeah.
And therefore,
And then I'll-
contact town
Right,
hall.
for
Yeah.
further information,
Yeah.
but it was refunded essentially, but they need to
You
contact town
received a
hall
lower
for
bill.
further
I kept records, that shows how much they've been
Okay.
refunded, yes.
To touch base on the dog ordinance, I do appreciate the information that was just recently relayed. I just wanted to clarify who's taking point on the dog ordinance and getting something enacted quickly with the summer coming. It sounds like the codification, the draft is gonna be, coming down the pipeline. But wanted an update as to who from the town council specifically taking point on that. And like just an update as to where we are fines being issued with that, and I'm sure Chief could also.
Unless it's
Address that
a
as well.
violation of state law, the state statute that exists. We can take no additional action. That's what Chief has said multiple
Right.
times, until that codification is done and voted on and approved.
I thought we said in the last meeting that we didn't have to wait for that to enact a new ordinance. And I'm really concerned because the particular issue she brought to us was right across the street from Ice Cream Plus. And in 2 months, you're gonna have masses of kids right there where these dogs continue to be loose, because we all continue to see it on social media. And we continue to see that the owner's response is get a life, give too much time and hands. We cannot wait months and months and months to do something here. What are our options?
That we'll have to get with our attorney and find out what our options are. But right now, as Chief explained, we have to follow state law. So.
And this may be part of it as well. I know Chief had mentioned previously he wanted to look at e-bike ordinances. Is that going to be entered in as part of the codification and getting something, enacted for the e-bike situation to help our community stay safe?
I know we discussed waiting to see if any other legislation comes out, because those are a problem everywhere. That we believe is gonna be enacted at the state level.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, some of them are faster than gas-powered motorcycles.
Right.
So, same reason that we have an ordinance that says that if you're not a licensed driver, you can't drive a golf cart. It's turning into one of those same issues with the e-bikes. Cause I know the last thing I needed when I was 11 was the ability to go 45 miles an hour.
I had some questions for Comcast, but out of respect for time, if I wanted to ask Comcast questions about this plan, who would I reach out to?
Miss Jenny.
Ryan Rockins.
Oh, and she might be able to get you the contact information for whatever the guy's crazy name was.
I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions I can.
So that'd be the 1-2 combo who you'd want to talk to.
And then Dan, I had a couple questions for you. And if the town council can answer this, then great. If we put an estimate about lead galvanized pipes, what are we as a town going to do to ensure that everything's handled the best that we can? And we don't come back a year later and say we've ran out of funds and we have all of these pipes and galvanized left in the ground for our residents to deal with.
Depends on how much money we get. I mean, that's bottom
Right.
line. I can't answer how much money we're gonna get, but we're gonna try to get as much as we can.
And I know in our previous conversations, we had talked about possibly looking for grant money for pollution that had existed in the town. Are we still looking towards that, or?
There's a couple of programs through SRF that we're
Right.
looking at, yes.
Okay, awesome. And then the last thing, since we've enacted a policy for meetings, what is the protocol for our residents who have questions on items presented, or even for those that haven't been? As we know in the past, I feel like in the last year, this council has gotten better at trying to be transparent. And with this protocol and policy, it saddens, I respect a quorum, don't get me wrong. But it also saddens me as a resident, for, in the past, residents have reached out by email per instruction from previous town council. And those emails were never responded to. So how can we, as a town, push out communication as to how a resident should question, and the protocol needed to be taken to question, and how are you as a town council going to ensure that if emails are sent, if phone calls are made, that we can at least send some form of communication to help our residents understand that they've been heard? And then even if you can't respond at that moment, say, hey, I'm looking into it. I had a meeting at work not too long ago where our CEO, well, in fact, last week, said that just taking 5 minutes to communicate, hey, I received your email, hey, I received your phone call, I don't have the answer right now, but I'll definitely get back to you, so we can ensure that our residents feel seen and heard. So what policies are we going to put in place to ensure that happens? Because God love Gary, I know he doesn't check his emails. Anybody that knows Gary Shuck knows that he don't check emails, and that's fine. But if we know that we can call Gary and he gets back to us, then fair. But at what point, what's the timeline and protocol we should take to ensure?
That's something we have to take under advisement and discuss as a council to come up with. You know, yes, we've established a meeting policy that is to help ensure fair balanced time. I know there's people that are looking at me crazy because I've let everybody go away over their time. But I think after a 2.5 hour meeting,
Fair.
you guys should deserve some time. So it's something that we're gonna have to look
I
at
appreciate that, I really do.
and definitely figure out, you know, where I work, we're working on, you know, as a small company grows, you have to have plans and policies and procedures and things in. You know, we're in the growing stages of, we've added a town manager, we're working on adding a planner. The reasons for these moves is to help eliminate the consultants that we spend a lot of money on, because we get limited time with consultants, whereas we can get a lot more benefit from somebody that works directly for us. But you have to crawl before you can walk.
But we get limited time with you. So this would be a time where you would answer to the public and meet a lot of those people.
As I'm trying to say, we have to establish some rules first and then rule out more rules. There's some things we have to figure out first before we can do it.
But you have
Thank
to communicate.
Can we put it on the next agenda to discuss a communication policy?
That is something that we wouldn't discuss in a regular meeting. That is something we would have to have like a working meeting.
Like a workshop?
A workshop. That would be public. But we need to, a regular meeting is not the time to discuss things like those. Again, part of the reason for the policy and the law is a regularly scheduled town council meeting is for us to execute the business of the town that we need to take care of. Taking time to discuss those things requires more time and requires more detailed time for it. So that's something we can figure out.
Can we schedule a workshop?
We can schedule a workshop, but we have a few other things that we probably need a big workshop for a couple of things. So, once I get my sea legs back under me, being the president now, we will work, with Lindsay and figure out kind of a list, and you guys can individually submit to us things that you want to see made a priority for this year, and then we can figure out what things we can work on and when we can have workshops. Because we're not going to fix everything tomorrow, so we need to, I'm a big believer in the funnel effect, where start with the biggest problem first and work your way down to the smaller ones. No need to mow the grass while the house is on fire. All right. That being the end of public comment, council member comments and concerns. Work the way down the list. Lindsay, you got anything?
I don't think so.
That should be good again with your constituents.
Miss Christie?
Workshop.
We'll get a
I'll bring
workshop
snacks.
scheduled. You bring snacks?
I'll bring snacks. If that gets it on.
I
the
was to
agenda,
believe there was punch and pie. Roger, any comments or concerns? Nope. All right. Then we get to me. I'm sitting down here red-faced and angry at the end of a 2-hour and 30-minute meeting. Because the first time I learned of moving public comments to the end of a meeting was when it was announced at the beginning of the meeting. We as a member of the councils have a right to know what's going on before we get to this meeting. I am really pissed off about a couple of things that came up on this agenda that we didn't know about till this week. I am really pissed off. And I apologize to anybody that's upset that I said pissed off.
I'm not upset.
But we have to do better if somebody is proposing something or a change of communicating in advance, getting feedback. Because I agree with Catherine and Alicia that it's insane to make them wait till the end of this meeting to have a comment.
Amen.
There's my comment for the day. If there's no other business, I would, oh, yes.
I think time at the end is kind of for summarizing what we talked about, like, because we went over a lot. We usually sometimes do, especially in summer. But at the beginning of a meeting, having if you want to talk about something not on the agenda, it's getting that out of the way, and then also having some time at the end.
I would agree with that, absolutely.
And
That is
then
excellent discussion. We will work on that in our workshop of how we work on our communication.
Thank you.
With no other business before the council, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Give that one to Christie. We have a motion and a second.
All in favor?
Sure. Aye.
And please come see me real quick so I can get this stuff signed with us this whole time. Signed out.
Appreciate you.
And all others need to be more involved.
Sorry, still learning.